cell wall synthesis inhibitors, including beta-lactam antibiotics. Question. Select all antibiotics that have the same mechanism of action: amoxicillin, cycloserine, cephalosporin, vancomycin. All of these four medicines inhibit bacterial cell wall synthesis. Question. What are the three initial precursor substances required for the biosynthesis of cephalosporin C? Answer. L-alpha aminoadipic acid, cysteine, valine. Cephalosporin C is biosynthesized from these three precursors. Question. Select all antibiotics whose mechanism of action is based on targeting essential structure components that exist only in microbial cells and not in host cells. Vancomycin, D-cycloserine, penicillin. These drugs inhibit bacterial cell wall synthesis, which does not exist in humans. Question. Select all antibiotics that inhibit cell wall biosynthesis. Vancomycin, cycloserine. Vancomycin and cycloserine inhibit peptidoglycan synthesis in bacteria. Question. Select all antibiotics that inhibit bacterial cell wall biosynthesis. Cefamycin, cephalosporin. Cefamycin and cephalosporin are beta-lactam antibiotics. Question. Why do beta-lactam antibiotics show a high selective toxicity toward bacteria? Answer. Because they inhibit bacterial cell wall biosynthesis, which does not exist in host human cells. Human cells do not have a peptidoglycan cell wall. Question. Select all correct statements about penicillin. 1. Penicillin is a metabolic product of Penicillium notatum or Penicillium cystogenum. 2. When penicillin is hydrolyzed by beta-lactamase, it becomes penicillinic acid. 3. Many bacteria, such as staphylococci and gonococci, are known as penicillin-resistant strains. 4. When amidase acts on penicillin, it is decomposed into the phenylacetyl moiety and 6-APA. All statement describes the properties, resistance, and semi-synthetic processes of penicillin. Question. Among the following antibiotics, which is directly biosynthesized using valine, cysteine, and phenylacetic acid as a precursor substances? Answer. Benzylpenicillin. Benzylpenicillin uses phenylacetic acid as its side chain. Question. Select all substances used as biosynthetic raw material for benzylpenicillin. Answer. Valine, cysteine, phenylacetic acid. Again, phenylacetic acid, cysteine, and valine are used for biosynthesis of penicillin V. What is the most serious adverse effect of penicillin derivatives? Answer. Anaphylaxis. Penicillin can induce IgE-mediated immediate hypersensitivity reactions. Question. Penicillin-induced IgE-immediate hypersensitivity reactions do not occur only at the major antigenic determinants, but also at both major and minor antigenic determinants that can induce hypersensitivity reactions. Hmm. Question. Select all semi-synthetic penicillin that are effective against gram-negative bacteria. Ampicillin, amoxicillin. These two are broad-spectrum penicillins that cover gram-negative. Question. Select all semi-synthetic penicillins that are particularly effective against Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Carbanicillin, ticarcillin. Explanation. Carbanicillin and ticarcillin are anti-pseudomonal penicillins. Question. Select all penicillin derivatives effective against Pseudomonas aeruginosa and Proteus species. Answer. Ticarcillin, carbanicillin, piperacillin, mesalocillin. And explanation. These are broad-spectrum penicillin derivatives with anti-pseudomonal activity. Question. Select all characteristics of aminopenicillins such as ampicillin or amoxicillin. Answer. Effective against E. coli. Orally administrable. Relatively stable to gastric acid. Inactivated by penicillinase. Semi-synthetic penicillin. Explanation. Aminopenicillins are orally available and effective against E. coli, but are degraded by penicillinase. Question. Which pathogenic bacterium are carboxypenicillins, such as ticarcillin, mesalocillin, and carbanicillin, mainly used against? Answer. Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Carboxypenicillins are anti-pseudomonal penicillins. Question. Select all antibiotics that can be administered to penicillin hypersensitivity patients. Answer. Streptomycin, fosfomycin, erythromycin, vancomycin. Non-beta-lactam antibiotics can be used in penicillin allergic patients. The old answers are amoxicillins and cephalosporin because they show cross allergy. Question. What is penicillinase? Answer. Penicillinase is an enzyme that degrades penicillin. Penicillinase hydrolyzes the beta-lactam ring. Question. Select two penicillin derivatives that show strong resistance to penicillinase. Answer. Nafcillin, methicillin. Nafcillin and methicillin have high penicillinase stability. Question. Select all penicillin derivatives effect against penicillinase producing staphylococci. Answer. Penicillinase resistant penicillins are as followed: oxacillin, fluoxacillin, nafcillin, methicillin. Which beta-lactam antibiotic is biosynthesized using alpha-aminophilipic acid, cysteine, valine, and acetate as precursors? Answer. Cephalosporin C. Cephalosporin C is biosynthesized through the AAD pathway. Question. Select all substances that are not precursors in the biosynthesis of cephalosporin C. Blah blah and blah blah are not precursors of cephalosporin C because Yeah, alpha C val yeah, acetate makes cephalosporin C. Alpha C val are the beginning words. Question. Select all correct statements regarding first generation cephalosporins. They are inactivated by push group 2b beta lactamase producing resistant strains. The first semi-synthetic cephalosporin introduced clinically was cephalothin. First generation cephalosporins cannot be administered orally. Explanation. First generation cephalosporins are mainly injectable and weak against Pseudomonas aeruginosa. They are more effective against gram-positive bacteria, while higher generations target gram-negative bacteria better. Question. Select all orally administrable cephalosporin antibiotics. Answer. Cefaclor, cefadroxil. Question. Among semi-synthetic cephalosporin derivatives, select all that have the same side chain as ampicillin and are especially orally administrable. Answer. Cephaloxime, cephaloglycerin. Question. Select all cephalosporins that have an oxacepham nucleus. Answer. Voxalactam, ceftoxin. Question. Select all cephalosporin derivatives that can be administered orally. Answer. Cefodroxil, cefaclor. Question. Select all cephalosporin derivatives that cannot be administered orally. Answer. Cefotaxime, cephaloglycin, cefnicid. These are cephalosporins used as injectable preparations. Question. Select all correct statements describing cephalosporin antibiotics. First generation agents are more effective against gram-positive bacteria. Second generation agents have beta-lactamase resistance. Third generation agents, finally, have high activity against Pseudomonas. Third generation agents are stronger than first generation agents against gram-negative bacteria and resistant strains. As the generation increases, activity against gram-negative bacteria and resistant strains increases. Question. Select all cephalosporins synthesized from hydrolysis products of cephamycin C. Answer. Cefoxetine, cefotetan. Cefoxetine and cefotetan belong to the cephamycin class. Question. Select all monobactam antibiotics. Answer. Aztreonam, tigemonam. Explanation. Aztreonam and tigemonam belong to the monobactam class. Question. Select all correct statements regarding clavulanic acid. It is a beta-lactamase inhibitor. It is co-administered with amoxicillin and others. There is a clinical formulation called augmentin. It belongs to the oxapenam class. Clavulanic acid is co-administered as beta-lactamase inhibitor. Question. Which beta-lactamase inhibitor is used in combination with beta-lactam antibiotics to treat infections caused by penicillin-resistant bacteria? Answer: clavulanic acid. Clavulanic acid inhibits beta-lactamase. Question: select all correct statements related to clavulanate compounds. 1. The antimicrobial spectrum is broad, but monotherapy is difficult. 2. Sulbactam and tazobactam belong to the same class. 3. They are co-administered with ampicillin and amoxicillin. 4. They bind inversibly to beta-lactamase. These are all correct statements related to clavulanate compounds. Question: which of the following are beta-lactamase inhibitors that are co-administered with other antibiotics such as ampicillin or amoxicillin to treat penicillin-resistant bacterial infections? Select all that apply. Answers: tazobactam, clavulanic acid, and sulbactam. Explanation: beta-lactamase inhibitors such as tazobactam, clavulanic acid, sulbactam are used in combination with beta-lactam antibiotics. Question: select all combination formulations developed to treat beta-lactam resistant bacteria. Combination: amoxicillin plus clavulanic acid. Combination: ampicillin plus sulbactam. Combination: piperacillin plus tazobactam. Explanation: combinations of beta-lactam antibiotics plus beta-lactamase inhibitors are representative fixed-dose combination agents. Question: what is the use of clavulanate? Answer: it is used as a beta-lactamase inhibitor co-administered with other antibiotics such as ampicillin or amoxicillin to treat penicillin-resistant bacterial infections. Explanation: clavulanic inhibits beta-lactamase, thereby resorting the activity of beta-lactam antibiotics. Question: select all correct statements regarding carbapenem antibiotics. The first discovered carbapenem was theanamycin, isolated from Streptomyces cattleyae. Imipenem is administered in combination with cilastatin in clinical use. Explanation: imipenem is co-administered with cilastatin to prevent degradation, and theanamycin was the first carbapenem discovered. Question: from which antibiotic is the semi-synthetic beta-lactam antibiotic imipenem derived? Answer: theanamycin. Question: which drug has a stereochemical structure similar to alanine, inhibits d-alanyl synthesis during peptidoglycan biosynthesis, thereby inhibiting cellular synthesis, shows stronger activity against acid-fast bacteria, and is mainly used as a second-line drug for tuberculosis treatment? Answer: D-cycloserine. D-cycloserine inhibits the ALA-related enzymes, disrupting cellular synthesis, and is used as a second-line antitubercular agent. Question: select all antibiotics that belong to the glycopeptide class and are used to treat opportunistic infections such as Pseudomonas colitis. Answer: vancomycin, teicoplanin. Explanation: vancomycin and teicoplanin are glycopeptide antibiotics. Question: Which glycopeptide antibiotic is used to treat methicillin-resistant Streptococcus aureus, MRSA, which is resistant to the beta-lactam antibiotic methicillin? Answer: vancomycin is glycopeptide antibiotic used in the treatment of MRSA infections.